You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis.
Hey, what's up? What's going on, everybody? Glad you can join me. Glad to see you today. You're listening to another podcast of All Things Sports with Mike Davis. I thank you for including my podcast into your day. If you're listening on Spotify, follow the podcast. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. Make sure you go to my website, atswmikedavis.com, to get in contact with the show for comments or suggestions or read any of the blogs. I won't take up much more of your time. Let's get into it. All right, so before I get into my the two things I wanted to talk about today, I want to say that I am a foodie, and can I consider myself a real foodie? Because there are some things that I won't try. There are some things that I will try. Now, I'm trying to get out of that, and there are some things that I plan on trying very soon in the future. Now, there is this page on Instagram called, I believe it's called Blue Ribbons Fried Chicken. Now, they have this interesting concept that is very simple, but I've never thought of it. And it is called chicken strip on chicken strip hot dog. And you can get this made a variety of ways. Now, the one I saw was a chicken strip on a hot dog with mac and cheese on top and some type of buffalo sauce. Am I the only one that would love to have this? Unfortunately, though, it is in New York, so I won't be trying it anytime soon. But whenever I do get back to New York, I will be trying Blue Ribbons Fried Chicken. But look them up on Instagram. They got some pretty good-looking, tasty food, if you want to try it. If you're ever in New York, and I plan on stopping by that location whenever I get back up to New York. All right, so I wanted to talk a little NBA playoff basketball today. So both of these teams, all four teams, they will be in action today. The Rockets will be in action, I believe, later tonight against the Rockets. Now, the Rockets took game one, 112-97, who were fueled by 36 points from James Harden, and they also got 24 points from Russell Westbrook. Now, in that game, they opened up the fourth quarter, the Rockets, that is. They opened up with a 16-3 run, which gave them a 19-point lead, and the Lakers just never recovered. Now, you have to remember, I know everyone is, saying, oh, the Lakers might be in trouble. Well, the Lakers have lost, they lost the last game one they played in, to Portland. Losing game one isn't that big of a deal to me, and remember, the Lakers had like 6 days off in between games. So you have to keep that in mind. Now, the Rockets, they were pretty much in sync with each other because they had just played a 7-game series against OKC. And LeBron said, after game one, they kind of got a feel for how the Rockets are going to do things. And this is when, I love talking about this is when you make adjustments. You have particular coaches who don't do it, and I'll talk about him next. And the Lakers, like LeBron said, they came out, they got a feel for the Rockets. They kind of know what they want to do now, and they're going to adjust and game plan accordingly going into game two. Now, I still have the Lakers beating the Rockets. Now, game one uh, means nothing to me. And I am a firm believer that the series does not start until the away team wins. Well, that was taken away because the Rockets won. But, I just don't see it. And James Harden had an interesting take on it. And he said it doesn't matter, about the height. It's all about the heart in a guy, who wants it more. And, he's saying that because I don't believe the Rockets have anybody that's over 6'6" playing. And Draymond Green had a interesting take on it, saying that big men should want the Lakers to win this series because the big man is already becoming obsolete in the NBA. And it's just going to prove more of that fact if the Rockets end up winning the series. Look, I don't think that happens. Lakers were just rusty, in my opinion. They had been off for 6, 7 days. They had been off for almost a week. And I think the Lakers come back and they win game 2 tonight. And they might even just go ahead on and sweep the rest of the series. I have no confidence in that Rockets team. I have no confidence in Russell Westbrook whatsoever. None. So look for the Lakers to take the next game and the series. Now, I also wanted to talk about the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks series. Now, you have the Miami Heat. They have a 3-0 lead on the Milwaukee Bucks. To me, not surprising. I actually called this series. And, well, let me tell you. So, all right. Everyone wants to pile on Giannis Antetokounmpo. Everybody wants to pile on him and say he's the reason. He's the reason Milwaukee's losing. I've heard he can't shoot. I've heard this. I've heard that. Well, let me tell you, like I told a guy that I know, one of my buddies, I'll take 21 points, 16 boards, and 9 assists from a guy who can't shoot. I'll take it any day. Here's the problem with the Milwaukee Bucks and why the Heat lead 3-0. Eric Bledsoe in the last game, 8 points, 3 assists in 30 minutes. That's the production from your point guard position. Wes Matthews, last game, 6 points, 0 assists in 23 minutes. So you got your main guy in Giannis who's doing his job, and you also have Lopez and Milton. They're showing up, but the problem is you have your role players who aren't showing up. This is the playoffs. You need contribution from your role players. You have to have it. Most championship teams do. The Lakers had it with Robert Horry. The Chicago Bulls had it with whoever the role guy was, whether it was John Paxson or Steve Kerr. But you have to have it. You can't just have your superstar and your main guys going out there and showing up, because you're not going to win the series. Playoff basketball is different from regular season basketball. And I've been saying this for years, and people have gotten on me about saying this. Mike Budenholzer keeps getting a pass, and I keep saying over and over, the guy is not an X's and O's playoff coach. He does not make adjustments. I saw it here in Atlanta when he would coach them, and it's just his nature. He rolls the same game plan out there. One of the things that bothered me, I remember when I went to Charlotte, the Hawks were playing the Hornets in Charlotte on the road. And I remember going to that game, that away game, and this is when Budenholzer was coaching the Hawks. And there was a situation where Dwight Howard was ejected in the game in the fourth. And the Hornets went on a run, took the lead, and it was a long run, too. And I'm yelling, call a timeout. Call a timeout. You need to make some kind of adjustment because Charlotte has adjusted to Dwight Howard not being in the game. And they've gone on this run, and Budenholzer did nothing to counter that run. He did absolutely nothing. He just let it play out, and Charlotte came all the way back and took the lead. Excuse me. But for some reason, Mike Budenholzer keeps getting a pass, and I really think that he is the culprit in this whole situation. I mean, I need for him to be over there coaching and making adjustments. And I will leave it at that. All right. Hey, look, that's all I got for you today, folks. I thank you for including my podcast into your day. If you're listening on Spotify, follow the podcast. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, comment, and like, all that good stuff. Go to my website, atswmikedavis.com, to get in contact with the show for comments or suggestions or to read my blogs. You've been listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. And remember, it's your world. I'm just giving my opinion. I'm out. Peace.
You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis.